Hi, Gerhard Bloom, once again looking at the tyranny and the delusions of the social justice movement. So, in particular, I'd like to focus this episode on the lying leftist media and Kamala Harris, that vacuous chucklehead. So, kicking this off, yes, in the wake of the untimely demise of Yahya Sinwar, the combatant leader of Hamas, and after the unexpected and sudden demise of Ismail Haniyeh, became the head of Hamas, the political side and the military side. He was, Yahya Sinwar, a key planner in that horrific attack on, October 7th, which, as Kamala Harris points out, left him with American blood on his hands. So happy to see him go. Except when Israel was planning on going into Rafah, where they killed Yahya, she says, oh no, Israel cannot go into Rafah. There's no place for these innocent civilians to go, many of whom are not so innocent, right? We do know that civilians were holding hostages in their homes under very, very unpleasant circumstances, right? Holding them in their homes, right? Treating them like slaves. But we're against slavery. Well, except if it's Jewish hostages, I suppose. But at any rate, she told Israel cannot go in there. Well, Israel went in there. And guess what? The Philadelphia corridor between Egypt and Rafah, major tunneling network. So it was just a huge siphon for weapons and material into Rafah. Well, Israel went in, closed that corridor off, guarding it, of course, and yes, get a hold of Yahya Sinwar there. So she's lying, right? She's against it before, and in the wake of the death of Sinwar, oh, this is a major policy coup for the Biden-Harris administration. Except it's not. That monster Sinwar would still be alive, and so would active terrorist elements, battalions of Hamas terrorists. They would just flood in to Rafah, right? Knowing that they would be safe. Well, Israel, to its credit, ignored the Biden-Harris lunacy. And over to J.D. Vance, right? In a recent interview, he gets challenged on this notion of, violent criminal Venezuelan gangs taking over apartment buildings. She comes back and says, oh, well, the city says it's only a couple of apartment buildings, just a few. J.D. Vance, to his credit, is like, how many apartment complexes is it okay for violent illegal aliens to take over? This is the United States of America. Illegal crime gangs should not be taking over apartment buildings. Zero apartment buildings should be taken over by violent criminal illegal aliens. And mentioned this before, right? The illegal migrants raping and killing little girls, right? This has happened and it is happening. Not to mention all the violent assaults. Oh, speaking of which, right? Do you remember when Donald Trump was in the debate with the chucklehead there? He says crime is dramatically up, violent crime dramatically up, and he gets challenged, Oh, and there was an agreement, no fact checking. Well, David Muir, I think this clown's name is, challenges him. Well, the FBI statistics say they're dramatically down. Well, Donald Trump correctly points out that many of these cities with the, most violent crime fail to report to the FBI, the crime stats. And recently, very quietly, the FBI announced its revised tally for violent crimes. And guess what? Yep, violent crimes are dramatically up in, the urban environments, right? Dramatically up. You think defunding the police is going to lead to a reduction in crime, or the fact that, mass thefts are not being investigated, people committing them are not being arrested or charged, right? You think that's going to lead to a reduction in crime? Absolutely not. By the way, for those people who are interested, read Heather McDonald. I think City Journal, she's at, number of excellent books on the topic. World-class expert on this. You can start with the war on cops, right? Heather McDonald. And then Kamala Harris, several times now, has been asked about she wants to turn the page. And recent interview, Brett Baer on Fox. Well, you've been vice president for the last 3.5 years, right? You've been president. You want to turn the page. Turn the page on what? This is your, well, we know that Donald Trump has been in politics for, he may be in politics, he's not in power. And she thinks this is going to constitute an answer. And the other thing relative to this is she keeps saying that, you know, she's new and fresh. Well, how are you going to be different from Joe Biden and his policies? Is there anything that you think that you would change under your administration? She can't think of a single thing. Can't think of a single thing, but she's going to turn the page. Oh, except she wants to, you know, legalize pot because she wants to win the black vote. How is this helping the black population or any population? You're going to be some pothead? You know, there are serious scholarly studies on this about how pot smoking, and I'm not talking about the occasional recreational use thereof, but chronic pot, yeah, apathy, loss of drive and ambition. Is this going to help the black population? And then all sorts of loans for black people. Well, this is racist. It's unconstitutional. You can't start deciding on who gets preferential loans on the basis of race. It will be thrown out of court in a heartbeat, but she's waiving this to win the black vote. And again, illegal immigration. It's been a cancer. It is a cancer. I've said this before. If it stopped today, the repercussions of this illegal immigration will ripple on for absolute decades. As people in the wake of Hurricane Helena are still, you know, struggling financially, have no place to live, lost absolutely everything. Government tosses them a check for $750, one time only, $750. Meanwhile, illegal immigrants are staying in hotels, they're getting fed free, and they're getting free medical care, overwhelming the hospital systems. And their kids are going to school, they don't speak English. So how is your kid, if you're an American citizen, paying into that tax system, to the school system, your child is not getting educated because the school is simply overwhelmed. This is what Kamala Harris is doing for the country. And as I said, she can't think of a single thing she would do differently, other than, of course, the racial preferences, although Joe Biden had policies in that very direction, right? Yeah, got thrown out of court. Right? Unconstitutional. Anyways, the insanity continues. Thank goodness there's, you know, podcasts and YouTube videos like this. Elon Musk doing an absolute excellent job. You know, people are starting to see through the left-wing lies. Anyways, thank you so much for your time and attention. And do check out my book, Deconstructing Social Justice. It's available on Amazon. Not important because I wrote it. I wrote it because the issues could not be more important. You are being lied to, and not by me. Thanks so much for your time and attention. You enjoy the video, drop a thumbs up. Gratifies my fragile male ego. Thanks so much. Bye-bye now.